Hail, hail, the Celts are here. And what the hell do we care now? You've been telling me we need to lift the ante, we need to lift the standards, lift the levels of the intro track, and we've done away with the default one that we've got here in the streaming software, and we've come up with our own, a nice little kind of highlight package of everything we've brought up to you on the channel over the last couple of years. I hope you enjoy it. Feedback and notes is always welcome, of course. Fist bumps to you all on arrival, and if you're watching this after we've been live, of course, fist bump to yourself. Please do hit the like button. Subscribe if you've not done so already, guys. We are flying towards 13,000 subscribers after only last week crashing through the £12,000 mark as we get closer and closer to climbing that mountain of 18,888, and we cannot do that without your support. Now, first of all, guys, we're doing this live the Wednesday summer transfer video because kind of my schedule kind of got away from me a little bit, and I wouldn't have had time to get this over to the editor. So for everyone joining us live, good to see you all. We'll get to the chat in a second. But just a bit of a setup for everyone that's catching us after we've been live. What we'll be covering is Inamura. It looks like he's on his way in. By all accounts, he's doing medicals and fees have been agreed and all that kind of thing. And I've actually, we'll do our best to get some footage on this. Okay. Now, for all you watching this live, you'll definitely be able to see it and it'll be fine, of course. But if you're watching this after we've been live, this stream might self-destruct. We might get copyright hit. I don't think we will. And if we do, the stream will disappear. So you might never get to see this, okay? Or depending on the level of the copyright that might come our way, we might be able to cut this segment out. So I'll do my best to keep it coherent. If you're staying with us for the show today, live and loud, live recording session as it is, thanks very much. And if you're watching this after we're live, let's hope that the copyright bots don't catch us and we get away with this, because we've got a tail of the tape to go through. This is a player that statistically there's not too much meat on the bones. It does show some promise, but the eye test is very much going to inform my opinion at this stage of the proceedings, certainly. We'll then flip that over and we'll do the usual summer scouting routine where we let the rumour mill drive us, and this time it will drive us to the J League, which has been one of the most hotly requested subject matters for this series. From all of you guys that tune into the show, leave the comments, hit the like button and all that good stuff, of course. And to be quite frank with you, probably a good way of starting the show off, because this will be the back end of the stream as well, what I'm going to touch on at the moment, right? But the main thing that stopped me doing the J League earlier, this is the 13th edition on the playlist, I think, for the Summer Scouting series already. 13, can you believe that? But the main thing that's put me off the J League is it's not a wash with talent. Now, when I was first getting tuned into the J League, like 2020, 2021, there was a bit of a golden generation kind of bubbling under. So many teams had great youth prospects coming through. So many of them have translated into Europe, whether it be at Celtic or a number of other clubs. And whenever I have looked at the J League, kind of ever since we last raided it, there's not really been that same crop of talent that's been going around. So when it comes to this series, like I've tried to mention on every video, the main struggle I have is trying to gauge where Celtic are. Now, I think this Inamura transfer really does let us look behind the curtain here on a few different things. We've got a few rumours circulating around in the second half of the video or the stream. We'll be touching on the developments and the rumours we've had surrounding Greg Taylor, maybe doing a U-turn. Carter Vickers maybe attracting interest. Naroki maybe going out on loan, so on and so forth. Because I do think this transfer, if it is to materialise and be and to conclude and to go through, it shows us behind the curtain in one of two ways potentially. So we'll be going through that in the video. Your thoughts and feelings are always appreciated and sought for. I need to get green headphones. I know you keep telling me that as well, right? It's the next thing on. I had to spend £100 on trainers, so we'll get to the green headphones. That'll be next, okay, guys. I promise. We've got the intro sorted, and we're doing the J League, so we're doing our best to keep you happy with everything. But I do think like this transfer takes us down one of two kind of routes and options, and audience participation is always encouraged on this channel as well, whether it be in the comment section after we've been live or in the live chat with the heroes and legends while we're on up and running. But good to see you all, and I've got the little bubble on screen so I can see you all there. I don't need to put all the comments up individually. We'll just bring up the ones that we're maybe going to reference or tap into. But good to see you all. Brendan, Christopher Young, McLaughlin P, Thomas Burns, DG 83, good to see you as well. Of course, Kevin McGinley, Hercules, Frank Kennedy, Noah Redmond, Ian Roy. There's a bunch of these joining us live and loud. Absolutely love to see it, guys. Smash the like button. Let me know how your week's been going. Have you been watching any Club World Cup? Have you been doing any Celtic scouting like I've been doing in preparation for the show today? Are you believing the rumour mills? And yeah, just generally what else is going on. So yeah, let me know. And if you're watching this after we've been live, of course, comment section, feel free to get stuck in down below. I think I'm treating this more as a live recording rather than a live stream, as it were. So we're just going to get stuck into it like a dog eating beetroot. Now, this is Hayato Inamura. And a little kind of anecdote. I don't know if it's an anecdote, but the way I was told to pronounce Japanese names by a man over in Japan is 2 letters is a syllable and vowels are short. So there's no like Rio Hatate. Like they make fun of us for Hatate, but it's Hatate, you know. So Inamura is kind of what we're going with here. Happy to be wrong. Don't really care too much about pronunciations. As you'll remember from the Ben Negren stuff that we've been doing here on the channel. So this is a tail of the tape here for Inamura. He is 1 meter 81 centimeters tall. So I think he's like that much shorter than me, which isn't a bad height for a centre back, but it's certainly not a towering presence back there. And this season so far, he's got 13 matches played. Oh, can I move where that bubble is? Actually, no, I don't think I can. Can I change the screen shape? Oh, we can do that. That looks, yeah, that's nicer. That's a bit bigger. We can see more of that. Awesome. So in the 25-26 season, as it is right now, because the J League starts in like February, March time, off the top of my head, 13 games, 1,000 odd minutes. So he's playing more often than not when, or he's starting when he is getting appearances. And as we can see here with the little green arrows, these are the little games where he's been subbed in. And some of these games, when you go all the way back here, is last season. This is like last November or whatever. So yeah, in total, he's made 25 senior appearances in the league. And actually, I got really interesting insight from listening to Liam Carrigan on Axom this week, mentioning Albrecht Nagata's success in the Cup last year and how Inamura, I beg your pardon, played a big role in that. And I don't have that data to hand. And, you know, that's extra context for any of you boffins out there that want to really scratch a bit deeper than, you know, I think we're beyond surface level, what we're going to do today. But if you want to go even deeper, looking at cup outings and whatnot is probably the next level. Now, for regular viewers of the series, you'll notice these big candlestick scores, and they will excite you because when you see a centre back, and he is a centre back at the moment, this whole left back thing, see, after eye testing this guy, he's not a left back. He is not a left back. He's less of a left back than Scales and Trusty, is the way I'll put it, okay? But when you see these big scores coming from a defender, it tells you a couple of different things. We can scratch in and we'll see exactly what it shows us, okay? But it tells us either they're a possession-based defender, they're getting huge passing statistics, or they're an absolute madman at the back. Clearances, tackles, interceptions, winning their duels, winning headers, all that sort of stuff. Now, I've managed to go ahead. I've got 4 games highlighted for us, okay? And I've already got the timestamps of the interactions for them. And I've got it here for the Yokohama game, which was earlier this season, a 0-0 draw at home, which you would expect some good defensive qualities to come from. And we'll look at the stats on that a bit more in a second. We've got his 100 out of 100 performance here away to Sanfrecce Hiroshima, where they did win 1-0. And Sanfrecce are one of the stronger teams in the division. We also have a bit of a meh game in the middle here against Tokyo. And this actually the majority of my opinion, this game, rather than the other two, or the final one that we have, where he has an assist, and it is a peach. It's a bit fortunate to be an assist as well, and we'll get into that in a little bit. In their last match, which was only the 15th of June, 3 days ago, against Yokohama F. Marinos, who we're all familiar with, currently find themselves 20th in the J League, a real fall from grace for them. So if you go onto YouTube and you search J League, you will find the J League International YouTube channel here, and they put on the majority of their highlights. They don't put them all on, and that's the only reason that I never got the. Oh no, actually, we didn't get the Yokohama game. I beg your. What game did we got? 4. We got Sanfrecce, we got Tokyo, we got Nagoya. Oh yes, I got the game where I got the Nagoya game, and the error led to goal. So we can see this from the statistics that we captured here. So we're going to look at 2 really good performances, a 95 and a 100, a 46 here against Tokyo. Tokyo, again, are a decent side. And then coming off the bench at halftime, Japan and Korea love to make these substitutions. Korea especially has got rules that every team needs to have a certain amount of under 23 players, I think it is, maybe under 21s. So what happens in Korea a lot is a lot of guys will start the game, play 20 minutes, and I mean play 20 minutes from the start, and then be subbed off for the 28-year-old or the 32-year-old or whatever. So you find the J and the K do substitutions at interesting times, and this guy coming off the bench at halftime, you know, like they've lost the game 3-0. They weren't doing too good beforehand. So it's not necessarily a thing, you know, it's more maybe minute management, development control, that sort of thing. So we've got those 4 games. Now, You can find this for yourself. There's even another couple of matches you can go and check out for yourself as well. But this first game here we've got is Sanfrecce Hiroshima against Albiresh Niigata. Albiresh are, I think they're in white in this one. But these are the timestamps. So you can go and see what I'm seeing. I'll just drop a wee comment here. So these are the timestamps we're going to look at. And we're going to mute this as well. So this is a long diagonal. Sanfrecce Hiroshima are playing a 3-4-3. And Inamura, once we've seen a few highlights of him, you'll recognise him. And I don't know how to... his body posture, it reminds me, it's somewhere between, and I'm not just saying this for any negative connotations or anything. This was the first comment we had in the show, and I'm definitely not here to service this in one way or another, right? But he's somewhere in between Kobayashi and Trusty when you actually see him on the pitch, how he carries himself, his running position, that kind of thing. But anyway, long diag from the right centre back here. And I can't remember exactly what happens here, but we'll see Inamura. This is him here. My mouse is just hovering over him. And yeah, he wins a nice wee header there, goes out for a throw in. I think that's pretty much, it's the highlights, guys. It's way better to watch these people. But from these matches, I've tried to get all the incidents, all the actions with them. So this is, what happens here again? This is 1 minute 11. And I think this is him here. The positions of the centre backs in this team are wild, by the way. They're either like joined at the hip or they're, the other defender he plays with is an absolute nightmare as well, for what it's worth. But let's see what happens here again. This is a 0-0 draw. I don't know why I included that. 1-11. So let's see. This is him here. What does he do? He's watching his runner. Yeah, he doesn't get to that. I think that's why I highlighted it, because it's like, you know, you should at least be going for that ball. And he's kind of turning around and, yeah, I don't like this. This is a real clutch straw thing. I'm not after the guy at all, right? But see people that do this, like, look at him, he's got his arms out, like, wow, what was that? Or looking at other people. So is this a guy as well? I don't like that crack. But yeah, not much in this one. And I think 157 we'll probably see. Yeah, this is a, so if we go back to this, sorry, 157. This is defending a free kick. He is here. This is him here, right? And against Sanfrecce are a very good team. Sho Sasaki, who gets his head on this, is one of the best defenders in the division. But just watch him, right? This is him here. The main danger men are all kind of right behind him. You'll see where the ball goes. It just kind of, I don't know, when I seen this, I was like, oh, geez. So he doesn't win the header. The header comes behind him. He doesn't get off the ground for it either. You've not even kind of seen the punchline part of it, but I'll just go back and show it one more time at normal speed so you can see it. Sho Sasaki wins the header. And look, he gets tripped up by his pal and ends up on the deck. So yeah, there's not much in this game. You can kind of see it again from this angle a little bit better. Let's just wait for that to reset. Yeah, so he's one of these two guys. I forget which one it is from this angle. It might be this guy here who's moving back in towards the box. But as you can see, Sho Sasaki, who wins the header, is back here. These guys have to be leaping to go after the ball. They don't. Sho Sasaki wins it. He gets in front of him, you know, and then he ends up on the deck. So not a great match there. It wasn't too much to go on. This game against Albiresh, this game is Albiresh Niigata at home at Tokyo. There's a lot more involvement in this game. There's a lot more goals. That Sanfrecce game we just looked at was 0-0. So there's very slim pickings on this one, right? Much better to watch players for longer. But this is just to give you a flavour of the kind of cursory kind of overview I've done for him. And again, once you find these games, I'll link them as well in the description if you want to check them out. But so Albiresh in this one are in orange, and this is him here, right? This is his centre-back partner, the guy number 2, who is an absolute nightmare. But wait till you see this. This is very bad. Like, he doesn't get an error led to go for this, but he really should. Absolutely flounces it there, loses the header. And then recovery speed, I don't think he's that quick, is he? And it is a nice hit. You know, he's not really got much to do with the ball actually hitting the net here. But as you'll see on the kind of replay for it, he absolutely just winces out of it. Now, he's maybe got a shout here from his centre-back partner, but, like, you can just see this already going against us against Kilmarnock or Dundee or something like that. His pals definitely gave him a shout here, right? But the guy he's bodying has got no, like, he can't get away for you there. And yeah, maybe a lucky break of the ball. But recovery pace there isn't wild. He's not beating Scales in a race. He's not beating Trusty in a race. And like I said before, this guy's not a left back, you know, quite simply. That was at 57. Let's go to 131. What do we have? Oh, so this is one of the goals, okay? He's over here right now, Inamura, and you can see what I mean by that posture. He looks like somebody, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It's somewhere between Kobayashi and Trusty in terms of the way the shoulders are, the way he just kind of moves across the pitch. And yeah, so the plays all around here. The rest of his team aren't helping him out too much, right? I'm not hanging the boy out because the whole team is crap. They're 18th in the league. The team is terrible, right? But wait till you see this. And I think maybe want a wee bit of commentary for it because it's just really funny. Like, it's just they go nuts for the guy Koizumi. But yeah, watch him. Here he is here. He's absolutely rinsed. I love Koizumi. Now, did he get there? Who knows, right? You'll see it again in the replay. He does one of those back leg. This is a great angle for it. So you can see him here. He does one of those back leg tackles where he's like, I'm not going to like tackle you, but I'm going to try and block you and stay on my feet. And it just doesn't work out. Koizumi is very good, a very good senior player, and he absolutely does him. You know what I mean? He's got the forward momentum, to go by him. But considering the position he's in here, he knows all the spaces in front of him. Koizumi is on the run. He just needs to go and meet him. And he doesn't. Stands off. Oh, he's in the box. And before you know it's the back of the net. That would have been about 147. And then we get to 338. This isn't too good either, I don't think. So yeah, look where he is. Start position. This guy up here, like they're so far apart now. They're losing 2-1. And I think, how does this game actually finish again against Tokyo? They lose 3-2. So they do have a bit of a fight back in it and stuff like that. Just for a quick reminder, the game we watched already, I meant to do this at the time, but he got a 100 out of 100 rating. And to get that rating, he made 6 tackles, which we never got a glimpse of in the highlights. He made 4 clearances, 3 blocks. In turn, a 1 possession, not enough, but he won 14 duels and only lost 1 with 2 interceptions. So I guess if we've seen the full match against Sanfrecce, we might have got a better picture of this. But very possession dominant, 6 to 8 passes. A few of them get into the final third, no attacking presence at all. So that was the first game that we watched. This is the one we're on the highlights for now, the 3-2 loss. And if we go back to it, yeah, this is the last one. So they're on the counter attack. They're losing 2-1. I think they've made some substitutions and stuff, but you'll see again his real lack of pace. He's not got huge physicality. And yeah, it should do better here. Like the gap in between the two of them is wild. And I know he's got a guy over his shoulder here who he can't abandon. But like he's got to see that, like he's actually standing off at the beginning of it. If we look back, he gives away the middle of the pitch. Where is it? There we go. Right, so he's on the back. So he's probably started about here, and he's repositioned his body so he can keep an eye on this guy, which is not bad practice. But he can see that this gap is widening, and this guy is going to pull him further away. This gap is only going to get bigger between the two of them. So he needs to guard a ball going into this guy, but he also needs to guard against this centre ground getting done because he knows his centre-back partner is not going to be that quick against this guy especially. And yeah, he gets caught in no man's land. That last little position to cover this guy just makes this an absolute chasm. And yeah, you've seen that coming, didn't you? And yeah, I actually forgot about that as we come on to it. But he gets a chance. Recovery pace isn't great, but he catches up with him. Striker takes a bad touch, and he should have saved it there. He should have saved it for his team. The guy gets by him, and he's appealing for offsides and stuff, but it's not happening, is it? So not great. This one here is against Nagoya Grampus. It's 0-0 at half time. Memory serves me right. Nagoya Grampus. I'm pretty sure it was 0-0 at half time, if memory serves me right. We'll be able to see the score anyway when we come to it. So we've got the timestamps. He comes on at half time. And I think I've went with this so you can see the angle of it. Oh, this is a clanger. Yeah, so on this, and the replays aren't great for it, but this is the game where he has an error led to goal. Like statistically, he's gave this away. And it's the first kind of highlight he has in this match. I've done it from the alternate angle to start with because you just get a better view of it. But on the actual highlights, it just like snaps into it. You kind of miss what his interaction has been. So we'll go back to it here. Right? So it's unlocked. He's got the ball. I think the ball's just went long and he's tried to bring it down. I'm just going to skip it back a second so we can see, and we'll mute it again. Yeah, so the ball's just came down to his feet there. So this came long from them. And as soon as he's brought it down, miscontrol, pocket picked, and him and his pal both go back. He scrambles. He does great to get back on the line, and he's actually a bit unlucky to not clear that off the line, to be honest with you. Good defensive awareness to recover the position. His feet are behind the line, which isn't great. But, he's ready to take one in the face, which, isn't terrible, is it? But a real mishap. Say pocket picked. His pal doesn't help him out. His pal should really be covering that ground. His pal's really the reason for this, I think. Inamura is the reason because he's lost possession, but his pal has abandoned station and then the middle of the ground. That cutback is just an absolute gift, isn't it? So that was that one. At 3 minutes, we see some other action as well. And again, you get to recognise him after you watch a bit of him, but he's over here. Now, the left back does terribly here, and he does get caught. The team is bad. You do need to reference that with all of this, right? But he gets caught again in a bit of two minds and doesn't do enough ultimately. But the left back should be stronger there, gets done. It is a bit of a world day as well. And as you can see, so as his left back gets bodied, he's obviously coming inside. He's got all this territory around him. And again, he's kind of in no man's zone. If he goes all the way out and confronts it, he knows this Diddy that he's playing next to is probably going to get hung out to dry. Needs to watch that gap between the centre backs. But this guy, he's hoping that he can make it. And he gets done. Gets absolutely done. And then he's got to do something here. So it's not really much of a slight on Inamura here, but again, he's kind of turning his back on the ball. He's kind of like, I'm going to block it, but he doesn't. The keeper, man, honestly, it's a screamer, isn't it? But these are the only interactions from the highlights. I'm not only showing bad stuff about him. This is literally the only footage I can get from YouTube for him for the purposes of this. And this is the last one that we have in this game. So he's came on at half time. He's caused an error led to goal for the first one. They went 1-0 up. The second goal, he's involved. And then they lose 3-0. This guy... this guy is terrible, by the way. And look where he is. So he's the last line of defense. He can see everything. He can see over his left shoulder. This guy here who's going to be penetrating in. He knows he's got to cover the ground to stop this guy because they've got a man overboard back here. And it's just him, So battle stations, maximum recovery pace. Oh, fair. Doesn't maybe need to break a neck here because he's got you can get into the centre quite quickly. This guy does have a lot of work to do. So holds a position, but then look, he goes to go to him. I think he notices that number 14 here is getting into the centre of the... I don't know what he's trying to do now, but he stands off him. And you probably know where this is going, don't you? That pal get nutmegged, get done again. As my boy says, he got sent. And you know what I mean? And then this is the last game we've got some highlights for. This is the only thing he's got in this game is his assist against Yokohama F. Marinos. And it is a so the ball comes back to him. They're kind of safely recovering a bit of possession here. The ball comes back to him at left centre back. And look at this for a pass. Vroom! Lovely switch of play and lovely diag. Nice first touch. Second and third touch are nice as well. Buys some space and zinger. Now, for you guys that have not seen the J-League before, like I mentioned already, this is on the J-League's YouTube channel, so feel free to check them out. J-League is just fun football. It's not the highest level in the world, but it's certainly fun. And that's the main tail of the tape. Now, you can go through and find much more highlights of them, but I tried to get the better performances. Sadly, the Yokohama game wasn't on the YouTube channel. They didn't have those highlights from back there. I was tempted to go back and find the game against Kashiwa Reysol because I think that'll be on YouTube. And I was also tempted to go even further back and find the game against Shonan Balmar. But to be quite frank, I don't think Celtic have scouted them that extent. I don't think we've been tracking them since all the way back here because, who would have been? Now, I know the cup stuff I mentioned before that Liam Carrigan brings into the equation, which is very noteworthy and probably should be entered into the context here as well. I just don't have that at my fingertips, so I've not got it. It really does feel like the cup stuff from last year and in this series of performances is what's caught Celtic's eye. And looking at this, again, where did they get the good points against Yokohama? He got the assist, obviously, but on top of that, he picked up 3 clearances and a couple of blocks, so no tackles or anything like that. Duel 1, 4 versus 2, so he's not this duel monster that maybe we thought he was. against Sanfrecce, no interceptions. The passing, 115 passes. Now, Yokohama are 20th. So Albrecht probably had an unusual amount of possession in this game. 115 passes, 11 of, and that pass you just seen, the assist, it's a long ball into the opposition, into the final third, which creates a chance. So that is a standalone pass, ticks about 5 of these categories, all the way through to maybe not quite one contest, but accurate final third pass, accurate long ball, long pass into the opposition, accurate pass as well. So that's like a 4 category pass, as it were. So I was really hoping to watch this guy and be super impressed at how well Celtic have like unearthed this kind of gem or whatever. He has no international credentials that I can find. It's not as if he's been playing for the Japan under-21s or anything like that. Before I watched the highlights, I was going to go up and somebody's asking what the fee is. It's a great question, by the way, and it does add context into where I want to take the conversation around this. I'll just put it on screen to give you your credit. Big Dom, of course, fist bump, good to see you. So I'll bring that up in a second. But before watching the highlights, what I wanted to dig into was what high school he played for and how well they done, because in Japan, that's their main method of youth production, is what they do at high school and college, that sort of thing. And if he came from like a really good academy or one of the ones that we seen was similar to like Hitate or, you know, Matoma, these types of guys, and that might shed a bit more light on the profiling behind them. But yeah, I don't get it, is kind of the punchline, to be quite honest with you. And like I mentioned before, the number one thing I've had a problem with when it comes to looking at the J League for this series is knowing who we could actually go for. If we look at the J League at the moment, like I say, there's not this huge breadth of quality across it. The only filters I've applied on this is to the age, to minimize it to maximum age of 24, because I just don't see us buying a 25, 26, 27-year-old from the J League again, like we did with Kyogo. I just don't see it. It's all going to be Hitate, Kobayashi, Iwata type age groups. The first name on the list here is the only guy that I knew would feature in this video, and we'll talk about him in a second. Kota Takai, again, was mentioned by Liam Carrigan on Axom, so I've kind of looked into him. I'm a big fan of him as well. And there's a few other guys here that are kind of okay. But one thing that I do think that this link in the impending transfer of around £300,000 is what is being reported. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys, 2 secs. I had the old phone on silent there. So, okay, before we kind of go, right, so I'll go back to the fee thing, right? Because I think the fee is quite an important element of this, right? It clearly has some raw potential. He's playing at a bottom end team, and what I thought when I seen this link initially, if we look at the J League for a second, is when we got like Yang and O, yeah, just really Yang and O for the most part. I should have turned that phone on silent. One of the profiling that went for them was that they played the bottom end teams that were used to like playing for their life, if that makes sense. And when I seen that we were linked to a player and a defender, no less, from Albrecht Nagata, who are 18th in the league there, as you can see, ahead of both the Yokohama teams. Imagine they both got relegated. Wouldn't that be something? Then I thought, maybe he's a defense monster. He's really bailing them out, and they're just so bad that that's not good enough, and he's maybe not showing up on the kind of radar, as it were. But I do think at 300 grand, he is stock, you know, and I'll get on to what that means a little bit more once we cycle through this. Because like I mentioned, the only player I would be confident in looking at the J League and saying Celtic should look at this guy, if not sign him, is Jonosuke Suzuki. Now, Jonosuke Suzuki can play all across the defence, okay? Is 21. So how old is Inamura? I think Inamura is like 22, 23. Yeah, Inamura is 23, okay? So Jonosuke Suzuki, who even before this video, it was the only player in the J League I thought is worth looking at, period. And I've got some other ones to look at, okay? We won't be doing highlight packages for them, sadly. But Jonosuke Suzuki has been playing in a back three, can play wing back, can play full back, can kind of do everything. As you can see with his ratings and performances out of 100, he's a main player for not even that great a team either. Shonan Belmar, I think, are lower mid-table. We just looked at the J League a second ago. I'm not going to go pull it up just yet. But this guy does a bit of everything. He's a very successful passer. He's a very successful jeweler as well. Very good on the defensive statistics, often winning tackles. Jules won 11, lost 4. That's quite, you see that repeat on his performances. Interceptions are good, but look at the passing. A lot of these accurate final third balls, long balls into the opposition, as well as a good kind of pass count. In a game against Uruguay, who are in the Club World Cup, no clean sheet. And again, they're a bit of a lonely team. He's 2 years younger. He's basically the same height. And this guy has a lot more pedigree and potential in him. He is already a Japan international. And he's the only guy that ticks all the boxes. If you were just to do a cursory view of the J League, and for defending, like, he really is everything we want a defender to be. He's big. He's not huge, obviously, but he's strong. He's quick. He's got all facets of the game in his record. We're not looking at like a guy like this, only or whatever. Now, it is his first kind of season running at it, first 2 seasons. I think, this is the back end of last year, this stuff here, before we come into this season's results, which is this stuff here, essentially. But yeah, I don't know if the difference is the transfer fee, because I don't think Jonosuke Suzuki would be 300k now that he's been capped by Japan. But all the same, if we are after a guy from the J League to fill in defense, this guy should be top option, number one, no two ways about it. Kota Takai, who was mentioned by Liam Carrigan, has also broke into the Japan team in the last window, getting his first caps at Kawasaki Frontale, again, a team that we know well, who brought through Ryo Hitate, as well as a number of other well-recognised Japanese players in Europe, namely Mitoma, Morita, Io Tanaka, and a few other ones. And he's been on the scene for a little while at 20 years of age as well. So he's been actually playing. His debut in the league was all the way back April last year, or maybe even before April last year. We don't have a date on that, do we, for year? Yeah, that's ages ago. That's like 2 years ago. So at 18, he's probably debuting in. Through 19 is this season here, and then it actually debuted for Japan a while ago. And then he gets to 20, and he's into this season here. So again, and this guy's a centre back. Centre back, he's not going to kid on to be left back like Inamura might be doing, or Jonosuke Suzuki could be doing. And again, Kawasaki have had their pants pulled down with Hitate, Mitomas, and all these other guys that they let go into Europe, and they basically made no money from them for all accounts. So this guy probably won't be cheap either. But again, younger, fits the mold a bit more. If you're going to try and unearth a gem, this is a guy that I found just through doing this kind of thing for the video today, and it is Kaili Shimbo. Kaili Shimbo. I think that's how you're meant to say it. Not got that much to go on. Again, he's really young in his J-League career. He's 22. He plays at Yokohama, who are even lower in the table than Albrecht Nagata, and he's doing pretty well. This guy plays a bit more left back, I think, from memory, rather than left centre back. Yeah, he's been playing left back in a back 5, back 3, however you want to think of it as. So could clearly be backup left back type guy, rather than Inamura, who has never played left back. He's just played a wee bit of centre back or whatever. This guy would probably be cheap as chips as well. This season, he's played 20 games. He's got a lot more minutes. He's got 2 assists to his name. Previous years, he's actually played before then, but it's not on the page for some reason. But yeah, this guy's actually had a bit of a career, maybe in other leagues or something. So yeah, that guy looks okay. Another guy I found, it was quite interesting, also plays for Shonan Bellmare and is more of the wing back. Jonosuke Suzuki normally plays left centre back of a back 3, and this guy's his left winger. Again, looks pretty good. Profiles pretty well as well. Plays left back, left wing back. Is 22, 23, so the same age as Inamura for after that kind of maturity rather than experience, as it were. And his height is a little bit shorter. But again, there's a bit more proof on the pudding, a bit more proof in the pudding with Taiga Hata, as this guy is not into the senior national team or anything yet. But again, good amount of minutes getting clocked up, and again, could be an interesting one. And then the last one I found was Nico Takahashi, and this one I was actually quite interested in, and we're thinking unearthed gem here. He's 19. He's only just got into the J League, a really good team in Cerezo Osaka, who bring through some really good players, and already in his short little career, has been playing at left wing back. Nishio, the left centre back here, I was close to including in the video, but then I thought, this Takahashi is actually like the unearthed gem kind of guy a bit more. Nishio, I think it's like 23 or something like that. He's been around the block a bit more. I'm not sure he's really up to scratch for us. But if we were going for that unearthed gem, Nico Takahashi, I think, is a not bad shout either. I'm not saying he's better or whatever, but at 19 and really not too a dissimilar record when it comes to Inamura. So yeah, I think this is quite revealing, because if we were going to go to the J League and shop seriously, I don't know anyone that wouldn't come up with Jonosuke Suzuki. Like, no matter what you look at, he would come out top of the list, like above all else. I don't think you need to be too clever with this, especially when we're top of the food chain. When we go to the J League, they're picking up their passports and running over here. Like, they want to play for us. They want to get to Europe. The clubs want to sell them into Europe because of the whole honor system and whatever. And the clubs want that European money. So, like, if we are seriously scouting the J League for a defender to fill the rank, and I called him, what did I call him before? Stock, right? So let's have a look at the Celtic squad for a second, right? Because like I mentioned in the tip-off of the video, we need to kind of cross-reference this against where we're at with some stuff, right? So if we have a look, can I do this? Oh, I can. Lovely. So if we have a look at the squad, right? I spoke on my views on Carter Vickers on Axom earlier this week, and I've kind of said it often enough on this channel. You guys will be well aware of it, I'm sure. But any rumours surrounding Carter Vickers is like hot air. Is a waste of time discussing it. And it's just never going to happen. His injury record, his weaknesses that do exist, and his age, the contract we have, the transfer fee we would demand, he's just not going anywhere, right? So not worried about that. But the rest of the defence has really opened up, because if we are to put Inamura, let's just put him in yellow for now, right? If we put Inamura into the depth chart here, right, and I think we firmly would be putting him in at the left centre back depth chart, okay? I think he comes in to be back up to Trusty, probably, to be honest with you. And I've got a feeling that Scales is going to be back up left back. I think Inamura, signing him, like, I don't think you sign Inamura and a left back. I just don't know how that's the equation. Rocky got his highlight reel opportunity at the back end of the season here, where he got his goal and he played all right. Where Celtic fans like, give Rocky a chance. He's not that bad. It's not been enough. We can't really get a move for him, and it feels like he's going to go on loan. Just hide that behind my camera. He's going to go back on loan to Poland. Okay, Welsh. Now, Welsh. The thing about Welsh, which people haven't really factored in yet, is if we sell him, it books on the balance sheet is clean profit, because we didn't spend a transfer fee for him. So selling Welsh for $1 million or $2 million is $1 to $2 million more valuable to us than selling Naroki for anything under 6, really, to be honest with you. And the same goes with Lagerbielke. What did we pay for him? Like 3 or something like that. So we would need to sell Lagerbielke for $5 million to make the impact on the balance sheet that selling Welsh for $2 million would bring. So I actually think Welsh is probably the one that will be sold with ease. A team in Belgium will certainly pay a sort of transfer fee for him that we would like. Might not be up front. It might be on the drip. So we sign Inamura for 300k. Maybe we sell Welsh for 800k plus 50% of whatever you sell him for in the future, or whatever it might be. Quite an easy transfer to navigate, to get suitors for, and to get over the line, I would suspect, especially in comparison to Naroki and Lagerbielke. Okay, so let's imagine Welsh gets sold. We know Murray's injury problems here, right? So this then means the backup centre-backs that will be on the books is Lagers, Inamura, and Scales. Now, as things stand at the moment, I actually think Lagerbielke is going to come into the squad. Now, I'm not saying he's going to play. I'm not saying he's going to be like a starter, or he's going to save our season or whatever. But I think it's going to be really hard to get him a move. I think from what we've seen in Holland, he did very, very well, but wasn't perfect. And I don't think I think he's got a pretty good wage packet with us. We paid a sizable amount for him. And I just don't see people queuing up. We could get this guy out on loan, but I think there's still a worry that Murray can't retain his fitness. So I think there's got to be a contingency plan in here somehow. And I think it might just be, we've paid for Lagerbielke, so let's do to him this year what we did to Naroki last year, and he's just going to be in the squad. And if we need you, we'll phone you, kind of thing. And that's kind of what my spidey senses are telling me if we're going to go on and sign Inamura. Now, one of the things I like about signing guys for 300k, for 400k or whatever, and I've said this before when we signed Kwon and Yang. I think Yang might have been a wee bit more expensive, but Kwon was cheap. Tilio, I think, was quite cheap in the grand scheme of things. We've also seen a lot of success with Bernabe and somebody else that's escaping me right now. But with these guys like Inamura, Odenholm, Palma, if he worked out, which he didn't obviously, but Kwon, is a team like us wants to make money without losing players. And Inamura for 300k, if we can do better than what we did with Kobayashi, like Kobayashi, I think, did we let him go for free or did we loan him to Portugal? I can't really remember what happened with that. But if we can turn Inamura into a £1 million player and sell him next year to Belgium or to Portugal or back to Japan or whatever, like, you know, small fries, right? But you do enough of them, it could actually kind of bring an income in a window. That means you don't need to sell a star. So I'm not against the club bringing players like this in. But what I do say, and that's what I'm saying, I think this really does shed some light on what the next defensive signing is going to be. I think there's a real, I don't want to say comfort, because I don't think anyone really particularly wants Naroki, Lager, BLK, Welsh, who have deleted from the screen, to really be in the depth of everything. I think we want to see the quality kind of increase in the squad. We know we need a backup left back. But if we're going to go and get this Inamura, he's not a backup left back. Like, I just don't see it. He's not got the pace for it. I don't think he's strong enough. I don't think he's confrontational enough. Like, if you're playing fullback, you're against wingers. Like, you need to be able to go shoulder to shoulder, not take any crap, and make decisions. And we only looked at 4 games of highlights, right? So it's not much meat on the bone. But I think we've seen enough there that this guy is not the finished article. This guy is needing work done. Maybe we can do that work. Maybe we can really unearth a gem. Not ruling it out. Not trying to write the boy off or anything like that before he comes in. But if that's the level of the next defensive player that we bring in, I don't see us doing much more in defence, right? And we've also heard, let's do a white dot for this one, that Greg Taylor might be about to do a U-turn. And I think this might be part of the equation because it was heavily linked to Pau, P-A-O-K. I'll go and put this on the screen because I won't, I can't be bored. But they have not signed Greg Taylor. They have signed John Joe Kenny, would you believe? So John Joe Kenny is now going to go to Pau. John Joe Kenny, of course, as you guys will remember, we did bring in, trying to keep Greg Taylor out the team. And I'm with you, Ian Roy, on this one. I've not brought Taylor into the conversation when you've mentioned that comment, right? But let's take Taylor out of the conversation for a second. Surely, if we do sign Inamura, and this is the kind of depth or the plan of depth that we've got for defence, it's probably not Montgomery, but Frame or someone else that we've never heard of, surely they're going to get pushed forward and lifted into the limelight because Scales can play backup left back in the league. I've got no problem with that. Trusty, probably the same. But heaven forbid, a must-win game, a really tight cup match, a Champions League game. And maybe, Brett, maybe it is Scales at left back, Trusty CCV. You let AJ really off the leash and it kind of converts into a back 3 off the ball. I can see a rhyme and a reason to how it could work and why it might be a plan. Don't think it's going to be anyone's idea of plan A or the best option going. But maybe there's stuff that we're not thinking about yet or we're not aware of. I don't want to say thinking about because we've obviously mentioned it or whatever. But I've got a feeling if we're going to sign Inamura on the cheap, we're going to get Taylor back. And if we do get Taylor back, then this whole left back thing is done. Taylor is the perfect backup for Tierney. I've got no issues with that at all. As long as we can make sure we've got Tierney for all the Champions League games, that will work out swimmingly well. But then it does mean if that is the case, there will be no further, in my opinion, defensive recruits. I think we're going to keep somebody to cover for Dane Murray at least until January because of his injury history, and I don't even know if he's fit for the beginning of the season or whatever. And we've already seen that Naroki is going to be carted out, as it were. So I've got a feeling that we're going to re-sign Taylor, and Lagerbielke might be hard to move because this guy is also left-footed, so does this open the door for someone to leave? If 300k barely played, I really hope not. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying my best to keep up with the chat. Thanks very much for the love on the intro. Thanks to everyone that is joining us live. This is more of a live recording rather than a live stream always up for the audience participation. Always want to get your comments involved, of course, but I just kind of have like, not necessarily a script, but I've kind of got a flow of everything I want to kind of rattle through in the video. We've almost got there. I'm happy to bring in some more comments as I see them coming up. But if you feel ignored, I am very sorry. But it's just it's the kind of mode I'm in with this, So I think this is quite revealing that we're not going to be pushing the boat out. If you think about this series on the channel, when we've looked at left-footed centre backs, left backs, defenders, period, we're trying to look at the Nicholas Kuhns. We're trying to look at the Ben Negrens. We're trying to look at the Arnie Engels. We're trying to look at that kind of level of caliber. And the J League doesn't clearly have that caliber. The only player for me is Jonosuke Suzuki. Is the only player that is probably worth looking at there. It depends on the fee. If they want 4 million quid, we're probably going to bulk at that, because let's just buy Inamura for 300k and we'll roll with the punches on that one. So yeah, I find that revealing is the thing that I think we're going to have to, and excuse the language, right? But we're going to have to piss with the cock we've got when it comes to the defenders, because we spent 4 million on Naroki, we spent 3 million on Laggers, and maybe the board is just going to have to say to Brendan, you're just going to need to deal with it, until we can get these guys moved on, or can we unearth a gem? You're going to need to do something with these guys. You're going to need to be creative and do your best. And I think, by all accounts, Naroki is going to go back to Poland or somewhere, and I think Lager Bielke will be in, because he's right-footed. And Lager Bielke, by the way, isn't a bad doppelganger for Carter Vickers. Like, they are quite similar. Lager Bielke's got more aerial presence. We've seen that with his goal against Feyenoord. We've seen that with... Lager Bielke didn't really play bad for us, but Brendan obviously doesn't fancy him. All the people that seem to be in the know think that Brendan took one look at him and said, he's not quick enough and I'm not taking him. And fine. But I think he's probably... They're also going to try and sell Lager Bielke. I'm not saying they've given up on it. Don't get me wrong. But I think with Taylor not getting the move to Pau materialising, Copenhagen were rumoured to be interested in him. And the Danish league, the new season starts in like 4 weeks from now. So if that move is going to happen, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. He is out of contract. There's no reason for that to be a protracted transfer. But if the rumours are now circulating back that maybe Taylor will U-turn, I think he's seen that the grass isn't greener. He's not got that great options out there to earn like oodles more money than what we are offering him anyway. And then he doesn't need to uproot his family and his newborn kid and whatever. And I think if that is the case, then they'll just go, right, we'll get Taylor. Taylor's wage is going to be big compared to Inamura, compared to like any other signing that we would probably look to bring in. And that will probably eat up a significant portion, I think, of the defence budget, to use a borderline political term. And I think this is going to be the sort of problem solving we get. If Murray can come into the team and stay fit, Lager Bielke will probably be shunted out before the window closes or in January or whatever. But I do think that we're probably going to have this as the center, as a defence depth, I think, for this year. I wonder if Leipzig, Ajax, or Stuttgart scout like this. On YouTube, probably not. I'm only joking. But I think those guys go into... I think a big part of, see the teams that we aspire to be like, and it's something that we've actually used as a criticism, but a lot of these guys are like tapped into networks. Like, they really know youth coaches, scouts, clubs. So they kind of know players that are looking good before they really become on the radar, as it were. And that's the benefit of some of those clubs. Their money, their global reach, if they're a part of a network like Red Bull are. And we are, and that's kind of why we go to the Brendan phone book, because we don't really have that relationship across the world with teams that we do business with, or professionals or different entities that we can tap into. We've got like the slimy agents that just want to tote their own players to us, and we've been victim of that 1,000 times over. And then I don't know how we've scouted Inamura. It really doesn't make much sense to me. Having watched him, I'm not like, oh yeah, he'll be great. I'm kind of like, why still? But I think it's very revealing that the defence budget, Taylor's probably going to take it up. I think Taylor's going to re-sign. Carter Vickers is going nowhere, so don't worry about that. But we're going to persevere with Trusty Scales. We'll bring someone else in to maybe, like, hey, can this guy push it? Who knows? Can he maybe cover left back? Are they maybe not convinced? Maybe Taylor do U-turn. Maybe it's a load of hot air, and it's more a case of, right, we'll bring in Inamura. In between Trusty, Tierney, Scales, and Inamura, the four of them need to deal with centre back and left back, and we'll just deal with it as it happens. Wouldn't be surprised. But that's my kind of read. That's my kind of vibe on it at the moment, because to bring a guy like this in preparation of the Champions League qualifiers this early in the window for such a small fee, it makes me think that this is going to be business done, for defence, as it were. Someone in the chat asked about Hatate. Apparently, Hatate put a really nice quote out yesterday saying, like, when your career's finished, all people want to look at is what you've won. And I think there was a bit more to the quote than that, but I think Hatate, unless he really does a Kyogo, I don't think people are going to be knocking the door down for him. And unless he's saying, I've done my time, going to sell me, I don't think the club are that buzzing to sell him either. I think we really want to keep him. I've added Osmond into this. I don't think it's totally official, but I just felt like doing it because the forward ranks were getting quite slim up here. Tellio has been somewhat confirmed to be coming in to get pre-season with the squad. And in a previous episode, we mentioned maybe he could be moulded into a Hatate type player. I just don't see him being good on the wings for us ultimately. But with Negren coming in, maybe there's less of a need for that to work. Maybe it's still something we see. And I think Ian Roy, like, I've got no problem with scouting the J League, but the thing that, like I keep saying, there's just nothing super obvious out there. And for the position we're in, like, Kyogo was the best striker in the J League. Daisen Maeda won Player of the Year in the J League. Iwata won Player of the Year in the J League. Hatate, when we signed him, was part of a Kawasaki team that, in terms of their domestic run, looked like Bayern Munich or Prime Juventus or like Celtic. They smashed everyone. They had a real golden generation. And that's the level of player that we've brought in from the J League. Kobayashi played for Vissel Kobe, who are a big team, but have not really been that successful over the last 5 years. I think they did have a Champions League win within the last 5 years, so I hasten to add that in before I get fact-checked. But, it's not like, he himself won Defender of the Year, Young Player of the Year, that sort of stuff. And a lot of people have said Inamura reminds them of Kobayashi. I can see the comparisons. And if it didn't work with Kobayashi, why would it work with this guy? I get the logic there. But yeah, the problem with Europe is it's way more heavily scouted. We're not top of the food chain always, and sometimes people cost a few more quid, so I don't mind the alternate approach, but I think Inamura has to come in with low expectations, like on minutes for us as fans as well, that he's going to solve any problems or anything like that. And if he can do better than Kobayashi at 300k, and if we can make money on him, like, fine. Like, I'm not against it, but like, why is this the transfer we're doing? Like, honestly, throughout this series, we've looked at so many players like that would absolutely fit the bill, not break the bank, and be a more probable success story than something like this. So I was really optimistic that coming into this video, we would be talking about I'm always happy for Celtic to find guys I've not heard of or whatever. But yeah, like, I'm not that impressed by him, sadly. And yeah, I don't think it's a good sign for the defence. It depends on how you want to look at it. I think it does paint the picture that Taylor signs on. And that's probably, would you take Taylor? Would you take Taylor? Let me do a poll. We're still, we'll do this poll for the end of the show, right? Okay. Start a poll. Would you rather Taylor or a centre-back upgrade? So would you rather have the best insurance policy for Tierney that we're likely to get our hands on, or an upgrade at centre-back? And you can think of that in any way that you want. Better than Inamura, better than Trusty, better than Scales, better than Murray. You can think of that any way you want. But what would you rather go? So let me know what your thoughts and feelings are. What would you rather if that was the case? Because we know Taylor's going to, like, what was the chat? We've offered him 20, but he wants 25, or I can't remember. But if he's going to U-turn and agree a deal, he's going to get paid the thick end of 20 grand a week. I think we know that. And does that take up a lot of budget for the defence improvements this summer? Let me know. I'm kind of on the fence. I like Taylor. I've always been a Taylor fan. I think he's overall underrated at Celtic. I know he's not perfect. No one's saying he is. But handcuffing Tierney to that extent, like having a backup handcuff, that's sort of an expression that we use around here, is a must, is a priority transfer. Like handcuffing Tierney, having that backup for him, having that solidarity in that position. But I think we can all agree that Trusty didn't improve on Scales. Between the two of them, I think they're both fine. I think they both did good this year. I think they'll both be better next year. But Rodgers clearly isn't completely sold on either one of them for one reason or another. I think he's happy to give Scales the leash. And I think Trusty, again, you give him the preseason. He did very well in spells last season. He can only get better. So maybe again, it's you spent 6 on Trusty, we spent 7 on the Rocky and Lagerby. Okay, Brendan, you just need to deal with these guys, you know. And yeah, Frank, you're totally spot on. It doesn't need to take up budget if we do all this other stuff, but maybe right now, because we want a guy in before the qualifiers, this is the parameter on buying somebody now before we qualify. And if we qualify, then maybe we can go and buy somebody else in lieu of that. Before the qualifier, we got Lagerbielke out, we got Welsh out, we got Quan, Palma, we got all these guys out in the next 2 weeks. Then maybe it eases that pressure also. But I think this is a transfer that's been done under the current climate, the current exact, like, who's in, who's out, who can we get out, who's got offers, who's got, inquiries on them, that kind of thing. Matthew Anderson, yeah, that's a great shout as well. He's been out in Austria. Is he a left back? That's great. I wouldn't mind that at all. And yeah, people give Trusty a lot of praise for the Atalanta performance, but it was Trusty and Scales. Like I mentioned on Axom, Carter Vickers misses so much Champions League football. It's often forgot how great Scales has been in the Champions League. Like, I don't think he's really let us down. He's not perfect. He's, whatever. But I think, yeah, they've both been good. So, yeah, that's just how I'm kind of reading the tea leaves, as it were. That's my kind of feeling, my kind of hunch on how this is going to shake out ultimately. So I think, yeah, we'll make money on Welsh. That's an easier transaction to secure and to get over the line. And the Rocky and Lagerbielke feel like Barkas in that sense, if we can't get rid of them. Same as Kobayashi. I don't even know if we let him go for free or if we loaned him to that Portimanois or whatever they're called. Montgomery went to Queen's Park last year. Is he the backup to stand up? I don't know. Let's see how the poll's been doing. It's only been running for a few minutes. Been running for 3 minutes. There's a bunch of you voted already. I'll leave it running for another 2 minutes, okay? And then we'll check the results of the poll. And we can rock and roll from there. There's not that much to go on, Frank. Or Franny, sorry, I beg your pardon. We did look at video footage earlier, so when you catch it, you might have been here for it, sorry, but if you did miss that, you'll check it. Oh, let's see, McLaughlin P. Taylor's already agreed a new deal, and the board's about to pull the look who we've convinced to say stunt. You think so? I am streaming from Glasgow. If that's the answer, I'm not sure. I would go neither. Like Mayovsky, again, I'm hearing Mayovsky chat coming back again. Mayovsky, and I know, like, oh, I was injured, right? Okay, yeah, he did get injured. But and yeah, Girona were terrible. And I watch a lot. I watch more Girona than the average person out there, right? For better or for worse. Mayovsky couldn't get a game over 37-year-old Stuani for the most part. Like, he's on the bench, not making appearances here. He's fit and available. He's coming off the bench, not doing much. He had one good game against Espanyol, which everyone was like, I think at that point, Celtic fans were like, oh, like he scored 4 goals in like 5 games or something, including that international against the Faroe Islands. But like, it's just not worked for him. And I say Stuani, they had other strikers as well. It wasn't just Stuani, but Stuani kept this guy on the bench. Like, Stuani is 38. Can he run? And mainly comes off the bench, but was preferred to start over me. So I'm just not interested in Miovski. If he can't play for Girona, he's not playing Champions League for Celtic. And Strelic is an Inamura type guy for me. Like, he's just too far down the food chain to realistically be a guy where it's like, oh, yeah, if we sign him, he could be great. I don't know much about the links and whatever. I know he played against us. He was a bit of the highlight player in the build up to the Bratislava game. He wasn't bad against us. I don't know if he was really that impressive. But yeah, Miovski, I'm like, if you can't get Stuani out of the team, what are we even talking about, man? So yeah, I'm not all about the Miovski stuff. I like Negren, and I think we've also heard that Kuhn might be leaving. If Kuhn does leave for Leipzig, I think I mentioned this on Axom as well on Monday, but it's a very likely transfer. 15 to 20 with add-ons is a transfer that Leipzig can afford. Will do for a German player, a homegrown player, no less for them as well. And they're in the Europa League this year. They'll be losing Javi Simons and Benjamin Sesko. Openda's going to be leaving as well. So Leipzig are going to lose 3 key attacking players. They will need a Nicholas Kuhn. I think he ticks a lot of boxes. If he wants to go back, that move probably happens. But I hope we can drag that one out like we've done with players in the past, where we say to Kuhn, you're going to get us qualified for the Champions League, pal, and then we'll sell you, you know. So I hope that's the kind of approach with that. So yeah, I think that'll be the way it shakes out with Kuhn. I don't think we're going to keep him. I think he'll be gone, but I think we might be able to get him to play a qualifier or so, or we get Negren in and maybe we've got the deal sewn up so we can maybe make another move before the qualifier, before we do pre-season. But yeah, I've got a feeling if Leipzig, if they are serious, like they've got plenty of reason to want him. They've got the money. He'll probably fancy it as well, and it will probably be a move that can happen as quickly as you would want it to. I'm not really saying Inamura is a good signing, but I think at 300k, it's like, okay, like what can you really lose from it? I get that element of it. But with Miovski, he's only just went to Girona. I think they're willing to take like a cut price for him from what the reports are saying. But if we sign Miovski, do you see us getting another striker? Like if this is the striker debt, like are we going to get another one? I don't think so. And on the basis of that, it's kind of the same thing as the poll. Do you want Taylor back or a better centre back? I don't want Miovski over finding someone new that can play maybe wide and inside or something. I know Kenny could go out on loan and whatever, right? Fine. But we've just signed this Osmond. We've got Ida. Yeah, I think we want someone a bit different. Striker-wise, who would you go for? My top striker shout was Oliver Antman. We did a shortlist stream. It's probably the better one to look at, but I'll show you Antman real quickly on the stats page. So the Go Ahead Eagles won the Dutch Cup this year. They've got a few exciting players. Their manager has just been appointed the manager of Wolfsburg, so really moving up. He's a Finland international as well. Absolutely slayed it in the Dutch league. They won the cup, so like not just a guy that's had a good season, but like an actual good season. He's 23. He's got all the stats you want. He could play centre forward. He could play wide. Likes to win the ball back. A very good team player, as you can see with the amount of assists and goals he's been collecting at national team level as well as domestically. But I think Antman will be one of my top picks for sure. I'll go and find the. So this is the Celtic summer shopping. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but it's that series, right? So if you go onto the channel and go to playlists and summer scouting, don't want to play the playlist. We want to see the playlist, and you can see all the videos we've done here. Now we've got the shortlist video. If you go and check the shortlist video, you'll see all of my top picks for like all the positions or whatever that we went through, and we kind of spoke about a lot of the players. We had previewed 100 players on the show by that stage, and then in this shortlist video, we condensed that down to 19 players. And then since then, we've had a few videos go out, including the one that we're on right now. So Antman is the first one that springs to mind. I also did like Ablin, who's a French player, but he's just been given a huge price tag. Yeah, and bring on the superhero jokes. I'm all about that. Andy Irvine has looked all right, hasn't he? I'm not too sure what type of midfielder he is, and if like would we be linked to him because he's Scottish? Are we interested in him because he's Scottish? I don't really think that's a good criteria to bring people in for. Iheanacho, somebody said I would have wanted Iheanacho when we were previously linked to him, but the fact he went to Middlesbrough for money, like screw that guy, like move on. Ultimately, but yeah, check out that video, the shortlist one that's in the playlist that this video's in, so you'll be able to find it dead easy. I'm just trying to think if there's any other talking points or elements of what's happened that I wanted to bring up into this edition of the Celtic summer transfer target shortlist scouting series, whatever we're calling it. But yeah, we've previewed Inamura. We've had a look at the J League. We've looked at how the tea leaves might be shaking out for defence and how all that might go. We ran a poll. Would you rather have Greg Taylor confirmed, or would you rather get a new centre back? There's been a bunch of votes, and 73% of yous have voted in favour of getting a centre back upgrade rather than getting Taylor in. And I would probably go along with that. But I think if we are to get a centre back upgrade to, improve the defence, that means we're not going to get Taylor. This Inamura, are we then thinking that he's like a prodigy left back? We're then probably hoping we can not only shift Naroki, but Scales, even on loan, I think would be fine. So if we could get Naroki and Laggers out on loan, get somebody to eat up some of their wages for us, then there is space for like another quality centre back to come in here. Maybe Inamura can give you a wee bit of cover as well. I don't mind that. It's like a depth option, perhaps, if Murray were worried about him. Trusty and Scales, there's left back cover between them and the academy with Montgomery. I guess at this point we might as well just put Frame on Frame in the frame as well. But yeah, if we then went and added in like a high quality centre back in here, it probably makes the overall defence better than keeping Taylor there, doesn't it? I think so. Jack Hendry's an interesting one, Ian Roy. I actually thought he blossomed a lot when he went to Belgium, and if we brought him that loan that we had, you know how that the team had a buy clause, they activated it and then sold him for a lot of profit really quickly. I think if we didn't have that buy option on and we brought him back, he would have probably proved a lot of people, maybe not proved people wrong, but it would have definitely, I think he'd have been better than what people think he was, to be honest with you. He's a decent guy, decent centre back, big, physical, can pass, not perfect. I call him the Scottish John Stones, and I think that's as good a comparison as possible. John Stones obviously at the very top of football compared to where Jack Hendry is, of course, but I can see why you would think that. But really, in the grand scheme of things, if we had Jack Hendry in this depth chart, would it make you feel much better? Like, would that make you feel much better? I don't know if it would. Yeah, it wasn't great, was he? Wasn't great. Now, Square Sausage Mick. Actually, I guess we'll finish on this, right? I can't put this video on because I don't know what I've not kind of previewed it or whatever, but I got a real good tip on that from a scout friend of mine. The guy's going to go to Fenerbahce, but I think so. It's probably not one we can go for, but yes, we do need one of those guys. And yeah, I kind of want to show you it because I think I've spelt that right. Oh, it might be in my watch history, actually. I want to show you this guy because the way, and I guess a highlight reel, right? So what a highlight reel's worth, we know, right? But it shows you what, yeah, there he is. And like, not too much. Like, I'll just put it back to the beginning. You can literally just watch a little bit of this with me, and you'll see this is the sort of guy that we need in the middle. He loves a slidey. Shout out to Hendo, by the way, for this guy's probably going to go at Fenerbahce, from what my scout friend said to me. 360 edition, go subscribe to them. Obviously, great channel if they're putting on this type of content. But Silas Anderson at Hacken, who play in Sweden, big good looking guy, yeah. And we just see him in action. Centre back, centre defensive mid, mainly in yellow and black, but hard hitting. If you see slide tackles and look at that, big Bambi legs there, getting in on the ball, boom. That's the sort of guy we need. Just that nose for danger. Clearances off the line. Take no prisoners. Body on the line. That's the sort of guy we need, you know. Look at that slide tackle. See that one again. That was an old bit of old gold, that one. Red and white player. Boom! He's that ball. You know, so great shout from Hendo. Good eye for a player here. And this Silas Anderson, I don't know his age or his transfer value or anything, but this guy's a defensive player, you know. Boom! Look at that. Loves a slidey. You know. So yeah, good shout from Hendo. And yeah, this is the sort of thing we were missing in midfield, is a guy that does this and wins the ball. Actually wins the ball back. Look at that. Protect the ball, get up with it. You know. So I agree with you. And that came to mind when you mentioned this. I thought I'd share that with you. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Boca, Argentinian football's just like that. They're all like fire-breathing dragons. Tons of yellow cards, not a lot of goals for the most part. I've had great fun today, guys. I've got a feeling there's one thing I've not brought up yet that I meant to. But yeah, I think that's, Scales is maybe the backup left back. If we sign Inamura, it was a thought. Yeah, we've spoken through all of it, I'm pretty sure. Sorry about hitting the mic there. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in live. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. It really goes a long way to supporting the channel. There's a bunch of you here live and loud. A lot of you heroes and legends have smashed the like button. But for the amount of you that are here live at the moment, we should be on at least 67 or 88 likes, the two magic numbers. And we're not at either yet. So if you haven't done so already, please do smash the like button. We'll have so on Monday we did a report card on the channel for Adamida. Not that many of you have watched it yet, which I was quite surprised because Adamida is normally quite a topical figure. So feel free to check that out. On Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to have our report card for the B team. I went to see them in Champions League action this year. I didn't see them in Lowland League, so it's kind of like, from my perspective, it's not a complete report card, but that'll be out tomorrow. And on Friday, we'll be live again as well for the kind of weekly what's happened chat and all that good stuff as well, which is why I've tried to keep this on topic, because the wider topics, we'll do that Friday as always, of course. But yeah, be sure to check out the video that went out on Monday, and I'll see you, you'll see the video tomorrow, and I'll see you all Friday. Thanks again. Please do subscribe for more content like this. Hail, hail, and Moan the Hoops. Will we play the intro as an outro? Why not?